My name is Cain with BluePrint Automation. This video will do an overview on the changeover on this Gantry 200. To start with, we'll go to the operator screen. We'll go to the main screen. We'll go to the changeover. It'll ask us some questions. The first one is, do we want to do a changeover? And we're going to say yes. And now it's going to tell me to start the control so that it can put itself in a place where it makes it easier and safe to do the changeover. So we will do reset. This takes a couple of minutes. Smart track's in position, and it will move the head into a position where we can gain access. It tells us that the robot is at changeover position, that please push E-stop. And here we will select the product code that we're going to. In this case, it'll be number 3. So we'll scroll down to number 3. We will select it. Here it tells me to gather my change parts. It gives me the head number, the smart track number, and the RAM plate, which is in the machine. So I will reset or remove that. It gives me a next step button. And here it tells me to go and replace the head, so we'll go open the door. Here we'll release the clamps to hold the head. There's one on this side and one on the other side. Once those are gone, or you can just slide it out. I'll set it aside. On the head it has our part number, which matches on the screen. And we just slide it into place. Secure the locking clamps, and the head is in. The doors are closed, we get the next button. Here it's going to tell us that we need to change the smart track. There are 2 little captive doors that keep the smart track in place. So we'll go in and change the smart track. Okay, these are the retaining doors, so we'll flip those open. We'll slide this one up forward. We have 2 clamps on that hold the smart track in place. You just pull it over, lift it up. There's another one back here. Now the smart track is free and we can take it out. I'll set it aside. The new smart track has the part number, which is also on the screen. We just feed it back into the slot. Once we have it in the slot, we just snap it in. Give it a little tug to make sure it's locked. Slide it back out of the way. Now I typically pull it out this way and release it as well. And we set it aside. And we latch it in place and pull it into the groove. Closing the covers, and that is done. Again, we'll close the doors to let the control know that we've done this. Next, now it tells me to go in and take the RAM plate out, and we'll leave it out for this next operation. So we go back in the machine, and just for ease, we're going to pull it forward. And you have these 2 turn nuts, and it just slides out. We'll set this aside. Once the doors are closed, we're going to tell it next. It's just a warning to make sure that all the cases are out, which typically is done before you even start. We're going to say next. Okay, these are all the change points, and on this machine there's 10. They start at 00, which is on the in feed for the product, and work our way through the machine. Once you've changed them, you just press the button and it acknowledges it. You'll notice that this one was green. Means it's in the same position from the last one as the next one, so we don't need to make an adjustment. So we're going to go up front, and we will look at a couple of these loading for the case, and I'll show you how to make those changes. If you notice, we give you the number that it should be set to, and we'll go up front. We had the numbers, and they correspond to these yellow tags. We got 7, 8, 9. These are what control where the case stops. We've got a little pointer, and on this one it says 8.2. The screen says we need to move it to 9. So all we do is just slide it up to 9 and lock it back in place. And you do that with all of the yellow stickers or tags, which in this case there are 10 on this machine. And so you just press it to acknowledge that you've made the change. It will not allow you to go to the next step till you've acknowledged that everything has been adjusted. So now that everything's been adjusted, we get this next step button again. Okay, now it's going to ask us to turn the control power back on, which is the reset button. Now the machine's going to make some adjustments to the cassette based on the size of the box. It'll go up and it'll move out and then it'll come back in. That's why you don't want the RAM plate installed. And so you just press it to acknowledge that you've made the change. It will not allow you to go to the next step till you've acknowledged that everything has been adjusted. So now that everything's been adjusted, we get this next step button again. Okay, now it's going to ask us to turn the control power back on, which is the reset button. Now the machine's going to make some adjustments to the cassette based on the size of the box. It'll go up and it'll move out and then it'll come back in. That's why you don't want the RAM plate installed. Okay, once the cassette has adjusted itself, it's telling us we need to install this RAM plate. And to do that, I'll have to open the door. Okay, now it tells me that the changeover is complete. So I'm going to reset it. Now the machine will go back to its position. This takes a few minutes. Now that the machine has reset itself, we get this button that tells us we need to do a test cycle. And what that'll do is move the robot through its positions to make sure that nothing's in the way. We haven't made a misalignment or something. And this is just a confirmation so we don't do it under full speed. So to do it, we hold the button down and the robot will walk through its motion at a slow rate. And then it stops on its own just before it gets ready to place, and you'll have to push the button again. And the robot will only move while you hold the button down. So if you see something you don't like, you can let go of the button and it will stop. Once it gets to the bottom, it'll take over on its own. And now we're ready to start running product. So the changeover is complete. Thank you.